We have an update on what Republican lawmakers are doing, not just in Tennessee, but across this country. In Florida, the state Senate just passed a 6-week abortion ban. The Republican-controlled state legislature is also working on expanding the anti-LGBTQ laws championed by Governor Ron DeSantis. And some other states are following Florida's lead. State House reporters in Iowa are joking that their state has become the Florida of the North, as the Republican legislature and governor focus on culture war issues. And Idaho has made it a felony to help a minor access abortion care without parental consent. With us for more, Eric Sarkisian, Politico Florida reporter, Art Cullen, Pulitzer Prize-winning editor of the Storm Lake Times and a dear friend of the show, and minority leader of the Idaho legislature, Democrat Ilana Rubel. Art, walk us through what's happening in Iowa. Would you call it the Florida of the North?
Well, that story arrived at the show a few years late, but essentially, the governor, Kim Reynolds, is running for vice president, and so they imported the Florida playbook into Iowa, or the Virginia playbook, whatever you want to call it. They imported it into Iowa, and it passed through a legislature that's overwhelmingly controlled by Republicans, and so it's a classic case of overreach. And but she's looking good to Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump right now, and that's really what's going on. They've passed bills that would ban teaching about the 1619 Project, which was authored by a Waterloo, Iowa native, Nicole Hannah-Jones, who also won a Pulitzer Prize. And they also had several bills, gay bashing bills and transgender bills. And I can guarantee you transgender was not an issue in Iowa. We pee on gravel roads here. I don't think anybody really cares where people are peeing.
There you have it, why Art Cullen is one of my all-time favorite guests. Eric, take us to Florida. Permitless concealed carry, a 6-week abortion ban. I get it that Republicans are in charge, but do they want to get reelected? And is that what their voters want?
I think they're confident they're going to get reelected because there's one thing that's going up in Florida. It's the number of Republicans who are registering to vote Republican. There was a shift that we had seen a couple of years ago, right before the 2020 election. And in the legislature, it's a super majority. So and the line from one high-ranking Republican in the House was, Ron DeSantis hasn't done anything wrong in our eyes, so we're going to continue following him. He's got a huge fanship in both chambers, and he's using that to his advantage because there's a lot of policies that he's getting across the line that they're willing to get over to his desk.
Like what?
Most importantly, I guess, would be the 6-week ban, which was the 6-week ban is interesting, partly because I've covered it so much. But what's interesting, if you look at the votes, we passed the 15-week ban last year, which obviously was with the expectation that the Supreme Court was going to strike down the Roe verdict, or the Roe ruling, excuse me. And then now we've done the 6-week ban, but for the 15-week ban, only one Republican in the legislature voted against that bill. Now, in the legislature here that's considering the 6-week ban, in the Senate, we've already had 2 Republicans. One was in Miami and said she had to vote on the conscience of her voters. The other Republican was a Tallahassee Republican who was put in office with the help of the juggernaut that was Governor Ron DeSantis, pushing candidates in the Senate. At the end of the day, that senator was also in a Democratic stronghold, which is the capital. It's the county that holds the capital city. So, which is always been known as being blue. So he had to vote his conscience, I guess, in a sense, for his voters as well. The question is if we're going to see more of that in the House. There's already one Republican who's voting against it. So it's almost as if voters are sort of saying that this is going to be too much, and that I think people are getting concerned about getting reelected at this point.
Ilana, your Republican colleagues in the Idaho legislature are calling this first abortion trafficking law. That's what they call it. What does it actually do? And are the voters in Idaho aware of the details?
Well, it's gotten a fair bit of media coverage, but this is the first in the nation. I expect, unfortunately, that other states are probably going to follow suit if this is upheld. But this would make it a crime to transport a minor to another state, because, of course, all abortion is illegal in Idaho. It's not 6 week, it's not 15 week. They're at any stage, it's currently illegal. There's no health of the woman exception. There's no fetal non-viability exception. They rejected a life-threatening circumstance exception. And so this makes it a felony to assist a minor to get to another state, which is interesting because it goes beyond what Justice Kavanaugh even said in the Dobbs decision. He said he thought it would go too far to try to ban interstate travel, but unfortunately, the Idaho GOP legislature has gone there.
Well, guess what? Ilana, Art, Eric, we're done with this conversation for tonight, but I'm going to ask all three of you to stay close. We are going to keep covering these stories across the country in each state. Things are changing and they're having a national impact, and people need to be aware. Thank you all for being here tonight. I appreciate it. When we come back, the story I promised we were going to get to, the Supreme Court Justice and the billionaire. Stunning.